Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is Wednesday, August 19th. I'm your host, Greg Miller, and this is the latest episode of Beliefs, Ballots, and Bulldogs. Today's UGA themed question is what is Georgia's biggest hidden concern? And not the stuff we've talked about, not the stuff everybody's talked about, not the obvious question, not Gunnar Stockton, not Mike Bobo, not the schedule, not the talent. Those are things everybody's talking about. Today, I want to talk about like what is it that maybe is getting glossed over or hasn't popped up yet. But what's that big hidden concern? What is it that we should be worried about, or what is kind of the nuanced thing that's really going to make or break this year? Every team has obvious questions. Everybody knows the quarterback's going to matter. Everybody knows Mike Bobo and the play calling will be watched closely. Everybody knows we've got some scheduled landmines with Alabama, Ole Miss, whatnot. But look, this is a talented Georgia team. That expectation is what it is. Sometimes the what determines the season isn't one of the loudest question marks heading in. Sometimes it's a quieter or a little more hidden one. It's a question mark that may not reveal itself until it's 3rd and 7 in the second quarter, and you need somebody to make a play, or in the red zone, or it's the things that shows up when other teams are loading the box and just daring you to prove that you can make something happen. So the hidden concern is it can be one of those things. Is it receiver chemistry? Well, that's a fair answer. We have a lot of unproven guys in that receiver room. You have names, you have athletes, you have a ton of potential, but you have a quarterback that needs to build some trust with these guys and hasn't had much opportunity to work with them. Timing matters, route depth matters, body language matters, the scramble drill matters. He needs to know where the guy's going when plays break down. That's when a quarterback is stepping into a massive season like Gunner is. He needs more than just talented pass catchers. He needs guys he can trust and he can rely on. So yeah, receiver chemistry is a crucial thing going into this season, and it could be a hidden concern. Offensive line cohesion. This is something I feel like we talk about every year. Obviously, that's a fair answer as a concern. Offensive lines are not just five big guys standing next to each other hoping to get in the way. They have to operate as one unit. They have to communicate. They have to be able to pass off twists and stunts. They have to be able to identify pressure. They have to have timing in the run game of when to release people. They have to trust the guy beside them to be there and do the right thing. If the offensive line isn't settled, every other question gets louder. Gunner has less time. The backs have less lanes to run through. The receivers have less time to separate. Bobo's play calling sucks. The entire offense feels stressful and painful to watch when the O line isn't gelling. So, yeah, if somebody says the offensive line cohesion is a question, there, that's absolutely a hidden concern. That is something we're rolling into, and that's a valid point to discuss as well. Defensive communication. Great answer. We know we've got the athletes. We know Georgia's defense has talent. Never going to be the issue. But great defense requires connection. It's the front, the linebackers, the star, the corners, the safeties, all being on the same page, speaking the same language. It's checks getting made at the moment, getting done fast and processing, and everybody doing the right thing. It's motion by the offense, not creating confusion. It's on a big third down play, not having something create a busted assignment. It's the difference between 11 good athletes and one terrifying defensive unit. So, yeah, if somebody was to say, hey, defensive communication is going to be crucial this season, absolutely. I 100% agree. Red zone offense, no doubt. Look, yards are nice, drives are fun, moving the ball all over the field is great. It's great to watch. But when you get inside the 20, field goals get you beat. Settling for three is not the answer, especially in big games. It's emotionally demoralizing. You can't drive 68 yards, look like the better dominant team, and then walk away with 3 points time in, time out, and feel like a national title level team. At some point, championship offenses finish. So red zone officially absolutely a concern. Special teams. But nobody ever talks about special teams until you do. It's a missed kick, it's a coverage bust, it's a muffed punt. bad field position can swing a game. It's huge hidden yardage shows up in field position of special teams. Those special teams plays can change games and change seasons. Georgia fans know that. We've had big moments in special teams in the past, so but we know that one special teams moment can be the difference between controlling a game and chasing it. So yeah, special teams absolutely belongs in the conversation. But if you're asking for me, the answer this year, I think, is where do we find easy offense? Last year, we were so blessed to have Zachariah Branch, but this year, I don't think it's going to come from one player or one position or even one specific type of play. Branch was such a gifted athlete. You just swing it out to him on a screen pass and let him go to work. But who gives Georgia the easy yards? Who gives Gunner, the throw that doesn't have to be perfect? Who turns a 4-yard completion into an 18-yard pickup? Who makes the defender miss and then turns it into a big gain and flips the field for us? Who gives Mike Bobo that answer when the perfect play call might not be sitting there? Who creates offense without making every play feel like an absolute fist fight? That's my concern this year. I think we'll be physical. I think we can run the ball. I think we can lean on the tight ends. I think the receivers are going to step up. I think we can win in the trenches. I think we can play defense. I don't like winning ugly, but I think we'll win some ugly games if we have to. But in modern college football, everything is hard on offense, and eventually you get stressed. Eventually, you're going to run into a team that can match up with you athletically. You're going to run into a defense that can hold up physically, and you're going to run into a game where you need a cheap, explosive play. A screen pass, a swing pass, a short crossing route, a check down that turns into a missed tackle and a chunk play, a tunnel screen, a tight end leaking out, a wheel route, just a quick throw to a guy like Jacoby White in space. Something that makes the defense say, well, all right, well, we can't sit on that anymore. And that matters. Look, I'm talking about easy offense, not soft offense. There's a difference. Easy offense is smart offense, not soft offense. It's understanding that you don't have to win every drive by calling 10 to 12 perfect plays. Sometimes you just need to get your guy in space and let him beat his guy and win. Sometimes you just need to give the quarterback one simple read to make a simple throw. Sometimes you need to punish the other team for putting pressure on them. Sometimes you need to make a defense defend horizontally before you attack vertically. Sometimes you just need a play to give everybody oxygen. That's what I mean when I'm talking about easy offense. And look, if Georgia can find some easy offense this year, then I think that changes everything. That's what this team needs because, look, if we have that, then all of a sudden Gunner doesn't have the pressure to be perfect. Bobo doesn't have to call a masterpiece every game. The offensive line knows they don't have to hold onto their blocks forever. The receivers don't have to separate and gain 30 yards on every play. Everything gets easier for us. The defense gets more rest. So that's the question. It's going to be who gives us some easy offense. Is it Jacoby White? Just taking some screen passes in space. Is it a guy like London Humphreys maybe stretching the field and opening things up? Is Talon Taylor finally going to become the 5-star stud receiver that we all thought he could be? That's what it is. Maybe it's Lawson Lucky in the middle of field. It's the guy that's going to step up and make the big plays. Elias Williams, Nate Frazier. Who's going to make the extra yards? Who's going to make for some easy offense when everything just seems a little sticky and a little tight? Because with easy offense, it just makes things lighten up for everybody. And look, without it, everything gets tight. Every third down feels heavy. Every red zone trip feels like an absolute chore. Every drive makes you feel like you have to be perfect. And we've all watched enough football to know what that feels like and know that even great teams aren't perfect. We need answers when things get messy. We need somebody who can make the game easier on everybody around him. And so that's why this is the hidden concern. That's why it matters to me. The headline concern will always be quarterback, and look, and that's fair. The loud concern in Athens is always going to be Mike Bobo as the OC. That's just the reality of who we are. The emotional concern will always be making sure we beat Florida and Tech, or go to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama and get that monkey off our back. But that's just the status of Georgia football right now. But the hidden concern might be not whether or not we can create enough easy offense to keep this thing from becoming stressful every single Saturday. Because if we can, I think this offense can grow fast. And Look, if Gunner can get some cheap completions, it'll give him some confidence. He'll start playing faster and playing better. If the receivers can create some yards after catch, then the defense loosens up. Tight ends become more reliable. Then the chains keep moving. If we can get the backs involved in the passing game, then the linebackers have to think about coverage more than just crashing the run. If we can find some of those easy buttons, look, then all of a sudden this isn't just a physical grinded out Georgia team. This becomes the kind of team that really is stressful to defend. And that's what we want. We've talked about it on here. We don't want cute. We don't want gimmicky. We're not trying to turn into some soft air raid offense. We just want to be smart and efficient and be physical, but with easy answers when needed. I want an offense that can absolutely punch you in the mouth, but then punish you for overcommitting to block that punch. That's it. So that's my hidden concern is where do we find the easy offense this year? So let me know what you think. My answer is I think Sokovia White is going to be the closest thing we have to a Zachariah Branch type thing, and I think he will make some plays. I think he steps up this year. So that's my answer for the guy that may supply some easy offense. But I think we're going to spread the ball around. But let me know what you think. What's the biggest concern? Who do you think provides the easy offense? And let me know what you think in the comments down there. All right, guys, I've had a few requests to put together a lesson pertaining to marriage, and I have been wrestling for a little while now with how I wanted to approach it. I'm so fortunate and blessed to have an absolute perfect wife. I love you, Haley Lynn. That I don't know if I'm really qualified to speak on marital issues, but I'm going to give it a shot. And here's the approach I came up with, and it's something that I see it just as a pervasive problem in almost every relationship, but especially in the marital situation. And eh, keep choosing your spouse. You chose them once on your wedding day. Maybe it was 5 years ago. Maybe it was 35 years ago. You stood in front of family and friends. You looked that person in the eyes and said, out of everybody else in this world, I choose you. But here's what I've learned, and it's a great marriage isn't built on choosing somebody one. It's built on choosing them every day, again and again and again. Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 19, verse 6, so they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Think about those words. We hear them all the time. What God has joined together. For Christians, marriage isn't simply an arrangement between two people who really like each other and enjoy each other's company. It's a covenant, it's sacred. So choose them when they're easy to love. Choose them when they're difficult to understand. Choose them when you're laughing on the couch together. Choose them when you're absolutely frustrated with each other. Choose them when they're at their best, and choose them when God is still working on the parts of them that aren't quite their best yet. Because guess what? He's still working on you too. If you live with someone long enough, you will become an expert on their weaknesses. You know all of the habits that annoy you. You know the things they forget. You know their insecurities, their shortcomings. You know every button they have and exactly how to push them. And if you're not carefully, and I think we all do this, you can train your eyes to constantly look for what's wrong. And eventually that becomes all you'll see. But listen to Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Now, Paul wasn't talking about marriage here, but imagine applying that discipline to your spouse. What's lovely about them? What's admirable? What do they do well? How have they sacrificed for you or for the family? How or when have they stood beside you in a tough time? What qualities made you fall in love with them in the first place? And when's the last time you told them? What you continually look for is what you're going to find. It's human nature. If you consistently look for your spouse's faults, you will find plenty. Start looking for reasons to thank God for them. You'll find those too. I love the attitude Paul expresses in Philippians chapter 1, verse 3. I thank my God every time I remember you. And again, this is when Paul's not writing about marriage here, but what if we decided to adopt that posture towards our spouse? And not God, why won't she change this? Not, Lord, why does he always do that? But rather, Father, thank you for this person. Thank you for the years. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for their strength. Thank you for the laughter. Thank you for how they've loved me and loved this family. Thank you that they were there when life knocked me down. You gave me somebody to stand beside me. Sometimes familiarity makes us forget just how blessed we are, and comparison makes it even worse. Do not compare your real marriage to somebody else's highlight reel. You don't know their marriage, you know their social media. Those are not the same thing. Comparison can make you resent a blessing that you once prayed for. Don't let it happen. And then here's one that convicts me, and I think it convicts a lot of us. Sometimes we give everybody else around us the absolute best versions of ourselves. And then we give our spouse what's left. We're patient with coworkers. We're friendly with strangers. We're encouraging to our friends, polite to customers. And then we come home tired. And the person we promised to our life to gets the leftovers, gets what's worse. Listen to what we're told in Colossians chapter 3, 12 through 14. Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. And over all of these virtues, put on love. Imagine deliberately bringing those words home to your spouse: compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience, forgiveness, love. Your spouse shouldn't have to compete with the rest of the world for the best parts of you. Save some patience for home. Save some laughter for home, some kindness, some affection. And look, when the world has beaten your spouse up, make home the place where they know, hey, look, somebody loves me and somebody's in my corner. Your spouse should know one thing for certain without ever having to ask: you're on their side. Not because you agree about everything, not because biblical marriage means blind affirmation, but because underneath every argument or every disagreement, there has to be that marital security. We're on the same team. Celebrate their victories, encourage their dreams, speak well of them when they're not in the room, protect their dignity, pray for them, remind them who they are when they have forgotten. And sometimes see the best in them until they can see it again in themselves. Look, maybe tonight, instead of asking God to change something about your spouse, thank Him for your spouse. Actually say it out loud. God, thank you for giving me this person. Because none of us know how many ordinary evenings around the dinner table we have left. Don't wait until something or someone is gone to finally understand how valuable it is. Look at your spouse while they're still sitting right there beside you and recognize the blessing. You chose them at the altar. Choose them again today, tomorrow. Choose them again and again. One prayer, one apology, one kiss, one act of service, one moment of forgiveness, one word of encouragement, one decision, and one choice to see the best in that person. One more piece of wood to throw on the fire. One more day of just choosing each other, because that's how great marriages are actually built. Not through one enormous declaration of love on your wedding day, but through thousands of small decisions where you keep saying, after all these years, I'm grateful that God gave me you, and I still choose you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, get in your Bible, say your prayers, love one another, and tell the truth. God bless.